Good evening. My name is Brett Loewen. I'm presenting on behalf of the Electoral Boundaries Research Group. The research group is a group of 3 students from the University of Manitoba, and my fellow researchers are actually here today, Alex Herbold and Ayla Slesser. So they'll be around for questions later. Feel free to think of some good questions for them a little bit later on. We've heard a lot about boundary redistribution tonight, but we haven't really heard about what this redistribution might mean in the upcoming 2011 election. Now, there's a strange phenomenon that seems to happen every time that boundaries get redistributed here in Manitoba. This is the 6th redistribution that we've had now in 2008. That was the 6th one. We've had 5 before. In 4 of those cases, the redistribution was accompanied by a change in government in the next election. And in the other case, the government went from a minority to a majority situation. And there hasn't been a lot of research done on whether the redistribution accounted for some of the shifts that took place in the election that followed. So that was kind of the task that we took on as a research group. And I'm excited to share with you some of our preliminary findings today as we try to determine whether the distribution in 2008 might have some kind of effect on the 2011 provincial election. So how did we do this? This is a task that not many researchers have taken on because it's a bit difficult to predict ahead of time what kind of effect the distribution might have in an election. I've been told that the method that we chose was fairly innovative, that few, if any, researchers have actually attempted this before. We decided to take the election results from 2007 and relate them to the new boundaries that we have and that will be used in the 2011 election. So how did we do that? We started off by drawing all of the voting areas that exist all across the province of Manitoba. Now, what a voting area is it's a geographic territory that's connected to a polling station somewhere in Manitoba. Now, I have an example here for you. First of all, these maps are maps that we've produced. This one shows all the voting areas in all of Manitoba, and then we have the cities of Winnipeg and Brandon pictured as well. I'm going to give you an example using the town of Manitoba. Now, in 2007, there were 8 different polling stations that were located actually here in the community center for the 2007 election. What I have here is we've drawn 6 voting areas that are right in town because these were the easiest to draw and to show. So basically what happens is the constituents in each of the voting areas will come here to the community center and they casted ballots at a specific polling station. What Elections Manitoba does is they produce publications that show station-by-station results, and each station corresponds with one of the areas above. So we were able to use this in our research, and I'll explain how I did that, how we did that rather, in just a minute. So we drew all of our voting areas, and then what we did was we took a map that was graciously provided to us by Elections Manitoba, and we put it on top of all these voting areas that we had drawn out. Then what we were able to do was, using that station-by-station data, we were actually able to add up the results from all of the different voting areas within the different constituencies. And we were able to kind of run a mock election or a simulation of what might have happened if we had run the 2007 election with the new 2008 boundaries. We eventually took that one step further, and we colored our voting areas based on the percentage of the vote that the winning party received in each voting area. So the areas that you can see that are strongly orange or strongly blue or strongly red, these are areas where that party who had the most votes in that particular voting area had a very strong or very high percentage of the actual total vote. And so from this we were able to hold these kind of mock races. Now before I show you what we were able to come up with, actually let me show you our research question first. To sum all that up into one question, our basic question was, all other things being equal, if we examined the results from the various voting areas across Manitoba in the 2007 election, then superimpose these on the new boundaries that were created by the Commission, would the results of the 2007 election have changed? And if so, how? Our answer to that question was yes, they would. The results would change, but not much. And before I get into my results, I just want to make a couple of quick comments here. The first comment I want to make is there was no way for us as a research group to be able to make or to be able to hold a 2007 election with the new boundaries. We did not have the luxury of time travel in our research, unfortunately. But the 2007 has come and gone, and it's clear that if we were able to hold an election in 2007 using the 2008 boundaries, a lot of things would have changed. You would have had new candidates running in new regions. You would have had different local issues come to the forefront. There's a lot of things that our simulation wasn't able to account for with that. The other thing I want to make clear is we aren't trying to predict the results of the 2011 election either. Clearly, a lot has changed in the last 4 years. We have a new premier. There are many economic issues that have changed and social issues and that kind of thing. So things have changed a lot in the last 4 years. But we do feel that our research that we have done has been able to provide us with a little bit of insight into what we might be able to anticipate or how the new distribution may have affected things and may affect the upcoming election. So let me show you our results. These are our results that you can see. We have the results of the 2007 election. So these are the concrete results. These are the results that happened back in 2007 in the past election. And on the bottom here we have the simulation or the mock election that we kind of had in our simulation. As you can see, I don't feel like the numbers quite tell the whole story. You can see by the numbers that the NDP would have gained 2 seats under the current distribution using the 2007 figures. But really what we want to do is we want to show you the maps that we've produced, and we want to kind of show how things have changed and show our results in map form. So here you can see right here a couple of maps showing the whole province of Manitoba. Keep in mind, these are now the 2008 constituencies that you were seeing, and they are colored, again, the stronger the color means that that party that won had a very high percentage of the vote. So we're going to break this down region by region, and we're going to kind of explain how we came to this conclusion that really any differences that was made was very marginal and very insignificant. We're going to begin by taking a look at the north. The north is one area, like Dr. Wesley mentioned before, that didn't change very much because of the new distribution. You can see that the areas look fairly similar, and you can also see that even when we looked at the new electoral results that we were able to produce, there's still the percentage of the votes remain very close to what they were before. As you can see, the colors in the map don't even change. It's still within the same areas that we were able to, or categories that we had originally classified the data within. So there's been very little change in the north as far as the voting results are concerned. We're now going to take a look at the southwest. The southwest is an area that did experience some changes. As you can see, the one big thing that you can notice right away from this map is that the Commission decided to include the Swan River constituency with the southwest right now. So that maybe accounts for one of the big differences that you can see on the screen. As you can see here in the bottom left on both of our maps, and I should explain one thing really quickly as well. On the left side, I'm sorry guys, on the left side is the results from the 2007 election. This is what actually happened in 2007. And on the right we have the maps showing what happened in our simulation. So that's explaining the maps that you're seeing up on the screen now. So as you can see, when you compare the two maps, the 2007 map and the mock election map, the electoral results for a lot of the constituencies in southwestern Manitoba did stay the same. As you can see, the constituencies here all stay fairly strong blue. That means there was a lot of votes for the Progressive Conservatives. That stays the same on the right side. There's one shift that you may not be able to see, and that's a shift in the constituency of Brandon West. Now, Brandon West was a really, really close race back in 2007. I believe the Progressive Conservative candidate won by 56 votes back in 2007. And so with the new boundaries, we found that, that with the small shifts that took place, that constituency would now flip to NDP in our mock election. So we're going to take a closer look at Brandon West in a slide in just a few minutes here. Now we're heading to the southeast. In the southeast of the province, there were also a few changes that you can see. Again, you have the 2007 election that really happened in real life, and then you have our simulation to the right. One of the big differences you can see that's been mentioned a few times is the creation of the constituency of Morden-Winkler. Now on the right side, you can see that's the very small constituency that you can see on the bottom left of the constituencies that are there. The addition of Morton Winkler resulted in an extra seat for the Progressive Conservatives. It was actually the second strongest Progressive Conservative seat in the province that was created with the new distribution. You can also see, you may notice a difference in the orange constituency that appears on the left side and the smaller constituency that appears on the right. Another constituency that was created in the 2008 distribution was the constituency of Dawson Trail. As you can see, the NDP support, the NDP was able to hold on to Dawson Trail on the right side in our simulation, but the larger constituency of La Vérendrye, which was originally NDP, has now shifted to the Progressive Conservatives in our simulation. Moving on to the city of Winnipeg. There's a couple of things that we found very interesting with the city of Winnipeg. Again, there was some change specifically in the north part of the city, but I want to point out a couple of things really quickly for you. The first thing that I want to point out is what happens in the southern part of the city. This is a highly contested area, as you will know, for provincial elections. And I want to point specifically at the constituencies of Southdale and of St. Norbert. These two constituencies were once held by the Progressive Conservatives, but have more recently been held by the NDP. And as you can see in the new map that we've created, both of those two constituencies have seen a decrease in the number of NDP voters that are now found within their constituents, again, based on the 2007 data. So these might be exciting constituencies to watch come the 2011 election. Another thing that you've probably noticed is on the top, in the northeast corner of the city, the constituency of River East has again shifted from Progressive Conservative to the NDP. This was another very, very close election, or very close race back in 2007. The winner won with less than 100 votes more than the other candidate. And so with the new distribution, it is now shifted to the NDP. So now we're going to take a look at both Brandon West and River East to see exactly what has shifted there and to see what the new territories look like. So we're going to begin with River East. This is a picture of the map as it existed back in 2007. You can see that one thing I wanted to point out is on the left side, there are a couple of territories that are not colored. That means that in both of those two voting areas, it was an exact tie between the Progressive Conservatives and the NDP back in 2007. So it really shows the competitiveness that existed in this race. There's also a number of voting areas in the middle that are not shaded too dark, not shaded very darkly, which again suggests that it was a very close race. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to the 2008 boundaries that we'll see in the upcoming 2011 election. As you can see, the map changes very marginally, but what we've seen now is the NDP now have the lead in terms of votes based on our limited simulation that we have here. And so in these cases, I also want to point out that we haven't included the advanced polls yet, and we're expecting this to really come down to a handful of votes when we do our final tabulations. Right now, I think the NDP are ahead by around 200 votes, and yeah, again shows how even a small change can yeah, make a difference in this case. We're going to move on to Brandon West right now. This is the map as it existed back in 2007. Again, the white boundary represents the constituency line that encircles the constituency. You can see how it was back then. Again, a very, very close race. And now you can see the new boundaries that have shifted ever so slightly. And now we're seeing, again, by a handful of votes, the NDP have the constituency. So what can we draw from what we've found in our simulation? The new boundaries would have had a very marginal impact on the 2007 election. There is no evidence of extreme gerrymandering going on here like Dr. Wesley spoke of before. The constituencies that have changed from one party to the next are races that were incredibly, incredibly competitive back in 2007. And the redistribution that we saw, it doesn't suggest a major change like we've seen in past distributions, where there's usually been a major shakeup of the provincial legislature in some way. And so that's something to keep in mind. If we do see a drastic change in the fall, I don't think it can be attributed to the new distribution. Again, I hope you guys have found this somewhat interesting, and yeah, we think that we've provided just a very small glimpse into how things may be a little different in the upcoming 2011 election. Our final report is in the works right now. We hope to have it completed by the middle of August, and you can look for that on the Manitoba Institute for Public Research's website, mipr.ca, if you're interested. Thank you very much for your time.